This self-published series has taken a huge step up. Hey Book Dragons, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here with me. Today I've got a book review for you, and this is rare for me. I don't normally review book 2 in a series, but I made an exception for this because this is a self-published series that the author had reached out to me on and has been supplying me with the books, and I wanted to make sure and get a review out for book 2 just like I did for book 1. So this is one of those rare circumstances where you'll get a review for each book in the series. And the book I'm going to review for you today is Burden of Fate by Ligia Medina. This is book 2 in the Preorder Pledge series, and I'm not sure if I pronounced Preorder correctly there, so please forgive me. I was given this book in exchange for an honest review, so this was an advanced reader copy. I did not pay for it. I am not being paid to do this review. If you want to watch my review for book 1, I'll leave the card at the end of this video so that you can click on it and go watch the review for book 1. And I'm going to say right off the bat, guys, I was really impressed with what a huge step up this book is. Book 1 was good, don't get me wrong. It had some flaws, but I did really enjoy myself. This book just exceeded my expectations. When you're reading a book 2 in a series, you never know quite what to expect, but I was pleasantly surprised at how well this is done. This book essentially picks up right where book 1 left off. Rianne is still with her pirate Titus, and Titus is a Preorder, and so he is hated by the Fae and looked at as an abomination. And so the fact that he has been able to capture Rianne is quite a feat in itself. But there are more reasons under the surface for why she was able to go with him. And Rianne knows something about those reasons, but Titus does not. So throughout this story, Rianne is trying to come to grips with the tension between her mission from the Fae and her feelings for Titus. And at the same time, Titus has his own struggles as well, between the darkness that he knows is in him, and yet he's coming to realize that there is more to him than just that darkness that the dark god Anord has put inside him. And he's starting to realize that he is much different than most of his fellow Preorder. This book really ramps up the lore behind the Fae and the Preorder, and we get a little bit more insight into Rianne's touch of Fae, because she is human and yet she's been given a touch of Fae. She's been blessed by the Fae to have a certain amount of power. We get a lot more insight into her and into the Fae in general, but I would say probably the most insight we get is into the Preorder, the pirates in this story, and getting to learn more about them and what drives them and how some of those Preorder are more powerful than others, and what kind of interactions they have with different races like the Fae and with humans. And I thought that was really excellently done. I'm not going to say too much about the book because it is book 2 in a series. I don't want to give you a lot of spoilers for book 1, but I do want to say that Ligia has greatly improved her story craft, and I'm really impressed with how much she's improved. So let's go ahead and talk about what I liked about the story. It has a lot deeper world building this time around. We got a little glimpse at the world in book 1, but this really expands the world, and we get to spend more time in the Fae realm. We get to spend more time at different locations in the world with Rianne and Titus. I really liked how she took the character lore and character development to a whole other level from book 1. We got to take a deeper look at the magic system and learn more about how Rianne's touch of Fae works and how Titus's power works and how the two interact together And it was really cool to see the struggle between Titus's dark magic versus a lighter magic that he's starting to recognize within himself that is completely foreign and unfamiliar to him. So that struggle, that internal struggle, really gave a lot of depth to his character. The antagonists in the story are quite complex, and we get introduced to some new antagonists in the story in the form of some other Bradai. And then we also learn more about the dark god Anord that has created the Bradai and controls and manipulates them to do his bidding. I really like that the romance is less of a focus in this book. I wouldn't say that book one was romantic-y by any means. I don't think it is, but it had a very strong romance element to it. And this time around, the romance is less of a focus because it's balanced by more character maturity and higher stakes. There's a lot going on in this story, especially a lot of danger going on in this story. And the characters really don't have time to explore the romance as much. And I found the romance to be really well balanced out by the plot in this book. And so you may be wondering, what didn't I like about this story? To be perfectly honest with you guys, there wasn't anything that I really didn't like about the story. I think really the only thing I can say here is I don't have book 3. So I need book 3. It's one of those stories that has really grown on me, and Burden of Fate does leave a lot of questions unanswered, and I think intentionally. But we're kind of left with a cliffhanger at the end, and I'm really hoping that we get book 3 maybe within the next year, because I definitely want to see what happens next. As far as my rank goes for the book, I would put this in my hoard. I'm very glad to have a copy of this book and to have gotten the chance to read it. And this is becoming a series that I definitely want to buy. I mean, I could just go with the advanced reader copies, but I would rather have the final product. I was really impressed with how well book 2 was done, and I'm very excited for book 3. So if you want to pre-order a copy of this book, I'm going to have the link to the pre-order page in my description below so that you can go and pre-order it. It will be releasing on March 26th, so I highly recommend that you go and pre-order it and have it ready to go on the release date. If you have not read book 1, now's a perfect opportunity to do that. And Ligia told me that she is going to have book 1 on sale for 99 cents next week. So be looking for that. Mark that on your calendars. Put this on your list to buy. And I would love to hear from you in the comments below if this book sounds like something you're interested in. It may be hard to tell really because maybe you never saw my review for book 1. But definitely go check out my review. See if this series sounds like something that would work for you, and I hope you'll pick it up. I'm really impressed with Ligia's growth as an author, and I just can't wait to see what she does with book 3. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what you thought, and until next time, make sure you're reading more books.